What's up, tribe? How you guys doing? Go ahead and make sure you are heading over to blackgirlvitamins.co using your discount code ReallyBTV and get 20% off of your order. Thank you to everybody that has already ordered and supported me, and those of you that have sent me pictures showing me your order. Let me know how you're liking it. Now let's get into the getting into's. First of all, let me apologize. I have no idea what happened on the last live. It was live. I thought it was live. I must have accidentally hit the end button or something. I looked up and wasn't live anymore. So my apologies if you were in the other chat. Now let's get into the things, y'all. Y'all know I wasn't going to come live tonight because there wasn't nothing to talk about. And then lo and behold, boom, bang, boom. We hear about Mauricio, Kyle Richards' soon-to-be ex-husband, gotten himself into a little bit of a kerfuffle. Okay? Now, I'm wondering if there's any connection to this lawsuit and this sudden separation, divorce situation that we saw. If you follow the Real Housewives of Beverly Hills, you know last season, Kyle Richards' storyline was her and her husband going through this separation / divorce. Now, I granted, when we're dealing with, hey, what's up, Cheryl? I found it, we always said that we found it interesting. Well, I ain't gonna say we all, but a lot of us, y'all need to see my A1 sauce in the thing. A lot of us were saying that we found it very interesting that, like, it was just seemed weird that it was her storyline. And I'm gonna be honest, I thought it was just that, a storyline. But at the end of the season, we found out that they really were separating. They moved into separate homes. He got a whole new girlfriend. We don't know what Kyle is doing, child. She alluded to having a relationship with a country singer, a woman, but nothing was ever confirmed. I don't know if that was just for the cameras or for real. But what we found out today is that that Mauricio, Kyle's husband, was sued last year. So it was under seal. The filing date on this is July of 2023, and it clearly says on the paperwork, do not put this in Pacer. And for those that know, you know that Pacer is the place where you get all the lawsuits from. So it just became open to the public for whatever reason. So it might line up if we start talking about that this was actually filed last summer and they were filming Real Housewives of Beverly Hills. It actually could line up. What you think? Thank you, Mr. Willie Brown, for gifting the memberships, and congratulations to Rainy Bo for receiving it. Thank you so much. Thank you again. So as always, y'all know my showrunner extraordinaire, Tracy, she done dropped this in my email. And I said, well, you know what? I ain't going to sit on this. Let's go ahead and go live and let's talk about it. Okay. Let's go ahead and get into this this website. Child. Let's go ahead and get into this lawsuit. So once again, thank Tracy. If you want to tip Tracy, y'all know she's not going to drop her Cash App, but I have Tracy's Cash App. So if y'all want to tip Tracy, y'all go ahead and send it to me, and I'll make sure I send it to Tracy if y'all want to tip her, okay? Let me share my screen. And we're going to read through this lawsuit, child, so we can hear what was actually said, what is being alleged, okay? Now, this was, again, filed last July. I'm telling people your business. I am. Excuse me. All right. Let me scroll back up to the top, you guys. As you guys, can you see this? Let me make sure y'all can see the screen. Let me try to make this bigger. Nope, that's the wrong way. Yep. That's still not real big. Let me see. Uh-oh. All right, that's a little bit bigger. But if you see on here, you guys can see where you see it was filed July the 12th of 2023. But you also see right here where it says, do not place on Pacer. Pacer is the place where people get the lawsuits. And that's where a lot of times people find out what's going on, who's getting sued, who did what, who didn't do what, and all of the things. So for whatever reason, whether it's because he's a celebrity, I don't think he's that big of a celebrity. I don't have that information at this time as to why this was under seal, but it was under seal until now. So let's get into it. You guys know we go through these lawsuits, that they just get into who's being sued. So the plaintiff is Mauricio Umansky. That is Kyle Richards' husband and his business partner, William Rose. Okay. Oh my goodness, y'all. Hold on a quick second. I'm so sorry. Hold on a quick second. Sorry about that, you guys. Okay. I did miss Pretty Amazing. I think El Teddy and I are gonna talk about that next week on the teacher project. I started to talk about it yesterday, but I think we're gonna say that till next week for the teacher project. It's Pretty Amazing. Asked if I heard about the teacher. It was actually an assistant principal that got her eye taken out basically by a student. But yeah, we'll probably talk about that on the Teacher Project 2.0. If you're not subscribed, Miss Pretty Amazing, make sure you get subscribed to the Teacher Project 2.0. All right, let's get back into this. Sorry about that, you guys had to take a pause. Okay, but Mauricio Umansky, his business partner, William Rose, they are being sued. And the company is the agency. For those of you that follow the Real Housewives of Beverly Hills, you guys are very familiar with the name of the agency. That is their high-end real estate agency, and they have offices all over the world, literally all over the world. You see here, it's a Delaware corporation. I don't remember why. It's something dealing with the laws in the state of Delaware. A lot of businesses incorporate in the state of Delaware. It's something, the laws it's something with the laws, and I don't have that information in front of me, but I remember when that whole thing was going on with Tesla and Twitter and Elon Musk, that was out of Delaware. And it was another case that we saw dealing with businesses that was out of Delaware. Okay. I'm present, the lady who lost her husband 36 years in January for whatever reason. You don't want to acknowledge my comments when I do comment. Mia, are you talking to me? Because I don't know who you're talking to, ma'am. Are you talking to me? Okay. Okay. So it gets into jurisdiction and venue. You guys know they always have to talk about why they have the venue in order, why they are able to have the right to sue, jurisdiction and venue. Okay. So introduction, it says, this is a case about greed during a national health emergency. Umansky and Rose, through the agency, a corporation they formed in October of 2017, or October the 20th of 2017, applied for and received 2 payroll protection programs. Those are the PPP loans. Y'all, people still get in trouble for them PPP loans, and CARES Act, any amount of $3,521,153. Those 2 programs were enacted for the sole purpose of preventing termination of employees by providing loans to businesses that were unable to pay them due to the impact of C-19. Not to bolster or preserve the profits of a business that had sufficient funds available, but to pay its employees. Yet, the vast majority of the proceeds went to those very businesses, leaving many small businesses like restaurants, grocers, and other small businesses that were directly impacted through a loss of business out in the cold. Many of the large profitable businesses obtained their loans by misrepresenting their financial situation, claiming their businesses were eligible when they were not, or by misrepresenting how the funds would be used. These businesses knew they were not the type of businesses the PPP was intended for, but the lure of easy and cheap money and minimal oversight was too great. Instead of helping small businesses and their employees as intended, much of the funds that were made available were used to line the pockets of millionaires and billionaires and increase the profits of large and highly profitable companies, which were not as impacted by COVID or had ample funds to remain in business and maintain their employees. Their size, resources, and access to professionals enabled them to win the race for most of the loans over those who truly needed them. This case involves one such business, an office of real estate agents and brokers. The agency and its founders and owners business involved advising buyers and sellers in connection with the sale of luxury real estate. Their profits would have been minimally impacted, if at all, because their revenue was based on a percentage of real estate transactions, typically between millionaires and billionaires, not customers who were unable to buy goods or dine out because of C-19 restrictions. In fact, the agency's business grew massively during the pandemic. In 2019, the agency had $6 billion in sales. The agency's sales volume grew to $6.5 billion in 2020 and ballooned to $11.2 billion in 2021. Ciao. Thank you, Mia. I appreciate it. I don't know what you mean, baby, that I ignore your comments. I don't purposely ignore anybody. So if you feel ignored, I'm sorry that you felt that way, my love. Yeah, it's something with I agree, Chuck. I think it's something with the tax structure or something along those lines. All right. Despite this, in order to receive the loans, defendants falsely certified that current economic uncertainty make this loan request necessary to support the ongoing operations of the applicant. Basically, child, they said that they lied, they didn't need the money, yet they applied for PPP loans anyway. In addition, the amounts they applied for and received exceeded the loan limit of 2.5 monthly salary with a cap of $100,000 annual salary per employee. In addition to receiving loans based on these false certifications, defendants later applied for and received full loan forgiveness, knowing they were ineligible for the loans in the first place. Now, that's where things get a little tricky, because honestly, if they apply for more than they were eligible for, whose fault is it that they got that money? Whose fault is it that they got that money? And if they applied for loan forgiveness and they were forgiven for the loans, again, whose fault is that? Is that on the government? Or is that on them? I'm just asking questions. Y'all can put it in the chat. Tell me what y'all think. I'm just asking questions. That's it. That's all I'm doing. Asking questions. Okay? The plaintiff brings this action as a realtor on behalf of the United States to recover trouble damages, civil penalties, and costs under the False Claims Act. Plaintiffs gave notice of its intent to file and full disclosure of the evidentiary bias to the Department of Justice, which did not elect to intervene within 60 days of filing. The only way this wrong can be remedied and the fraudulently obtained proceeds recovered for the benefit of taxpayers is through this action. The parties are: the plaintiff is the California Limited Liability Company with its principal place of business in Los Angeles, California, and the defendant is Mauricio Umansky and his business partner, William Rose. Hold on a second. Let me scroll back up for a second. I want to see something. Okay. So it's United States of America Realtor LLC is who's suing. Okay. I just wanted to make sure I knew who was actually suing him. Okay. All right. This just goes on to explain what the CARES and Paycheck Protection Program is. We know what it is. I ain't about to sit here and read through the whole document about what it was, when it was started, who wrote the legislation. We know what it is. Here they've included an excerpt from the loan to show what part of the loan they're saying that that they violated. I ain't reading all of this, y'all. I'm not reading all of this. It gets into which form, and it says, okay, let me tell you this. Now I will get into this. They're saying what they're saying they lied about. After the lender processed and approved a borrower's PPP loan application, Form 2483, but prior to the closing of the PPP loan, the lender submitted to the SBA the lender's application. The PPP loan guarantee to the SBA applying for a guarantee on the loan. Hold on, y'all, because all of that again, child, we didn't get it all of that. The applicant has certified to the lender that 1, it is in operation on February the 15th of 2020 and has not permanently closed and was either an eligible self-employed individual, independent contractor, or sole proprietorship with no employees, or had employees for whom it pays salaries and payroll taxes for paid independent contractors as reported on Forms 1099. Current economic uncertainty makes this loan request necessary to support the ongoing operations of the applicant. The funds will be used to retain workers and maintain payroll or make payments for mortgage, interest, rent, utilities, covered operation expenditures, covered property damage costs, covered supplier costs, covered worker protection expenditures, and the applicant has not and will not receive another loan under the PPP program, yada, 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 yada. So they're saying this is what he violated, or what the agency violated. It said that, therefore, if a PPP borrower lied on its loan application, the false certification caused the lender to submit the SBA with respect to that loan, that it was a false statement. Okay. So they're saying that is what he violated. Again, I'm just going to, y'all don't care about all this. I'm scrolling through it. Because again, they still talking about, all right, here's what y'all care about. What did Mauricio specifically, what is he specifically being accused of doing? That's what y'all care about. Y'all don't care about the history of the PPP loans. Okay. Marcy Robbins says your records have to line up: taxes, FICA, employment records, financial documents, etc. Absolutely. The Gov does that all the time. They will set your ZAS up to see if you fail. If you fall for the okie doke. I feel you. You're dreaming. I feel you. All right. Let me read through what the actual fraud is. During round 1 of the PPP program, the agency applied for $2,395,279, and it was approved in April of 2020 by the SBA for an amount that they asked for. The loan was facilitated by MUFG Union Bank National Association. The agency received 100% of the approved amount. On its application for this loan, the agency stated that it had 109 employees, therefore reflecting the average salary of $110,000 per year, said loan hereafter referred to as PPP-1. During round 2 of the Paycheck Protection Program, the agency applied for a second loan in the amount of $1,125,856. It was approved on April the 2nd by the SBA for an amount of that they asked for. The loan was facilitated by the same bank, and it received 100% of what it was asking for. The agency at that time stated it had 73 employees, therefore reflecting an average salary of $74,000 per year. And that is going to be referred to as PPP loan number 2. In applying for and receiving the loans, defendants knowingly made false representations. In fact, in virtually all of the required certifications that are described above and required to be eligible, the PPP loans were not necessary to support the defendants' ongoing operations and pay their employees' salaries, nor were they used for such purposes because defendants had ample liquidity to do so. Instead, it only bolstered their profits. Defendants' businesses revolved around luxury real estate transactions of white-collar millionaires and billionaires who were not impacted by the pandemic. The agency does not deal in starter homes, but luxury properties for the rich and famous, with their average sales price of $1.9 million. This contrasts with small businesses such as grocery stores, restaurants, and other companies that sell other products and services who depend on the voluminous flow of customers. Defendants did not need that constant flow of customers to stay in business because they made significant profits from each luxury real estate transaction among their wealthy clientele. Yeah. Data available on defendants' website shows that their profits increased substantially during the pandemic, and I already read you guys how that went up. Unlike other businesses that suffered during the course of the pandemic, the agency benefited from the pandemic and grew at a substantially more rapid rate. In each of the 2020 and 2021, the agency made it to near the top of the INC's list of fast-growing companies in America and California. As highly experienced real estate professionals, each with decades of relevant marketing experience, the defendant would be the beneficiaries of a once-in-a-lifetime real estate boom, and that the money was not necessary to continue their operation. Umansky and Rose anticipated and capitalized on the flight to luxury single-family residences brought on by the pandemic. As real estate market experts, they knew that the Federal Reserve's zero interest rate policy and mortgage-backed securities buying program of quantitative easing, nearly $3 trillion, would result in a boom in the real estate market. With that knowledge, they not once but twice took PPP money and deprived less sophisticated but more deserving small business owners from access to capital. Based on their 2019 sales, defendants would have been flush with cash going into 2020 unless they had chosen to distribute every penny of the additional income to their owners, which no competent business person would do. There was no economic necessity when they applied for the PPP Loan 1 and PPP Loan 2. As highly experienced real estate professionals that held themselves out as sophisticated real estate advisors with intimate knowledge of the market, defendants knew markets can and do fluctuate greatly, including extended periods of decline and certainly for shorter term market declines that may be larger than a typical downturn. Therefore, they knew the importance of maintaining sufficient liquidity to continue normal business operations and adequately provide real estate salesperson services for their clients. With this knowledge, something's flying around here. With this knowledge, defendants would have retained significant reserves to continue to pay their employees. To do otherwise would have been grossly irresponsible, especially for experts in the real estate market. As alleged above, defendants expressly do not hold themselves out as grossly irresponsible, and their experience and success confirms they were not. This also is confirmed by the fact that defendants have remained in business and continue to employ comparable numbers of individuals in their capacities during the current severe economic downturn. Defendants' own website confirms that dramatically greater impact of the current downturn compared to the brief COVID-related market decline, which lasted only a short period of time. While market declines, such as the short decline in 2020, may reduce the amount of corporate profits, the purpose of the PPP program was not to keep corporate profits high, but to make sure that companies did not have enough money to pay their employees, could pay their employees. The above facts make clear that the defendants not only remained profitable during the brief COVID market decline, but greatly increased their revenue during that period. Okay. I feel like they're just being repetitive. They're saying the same thing in different ways. So I don't want to, just keep reading. Okay. They're just getting into they're breaking down the finances and how much money they made during COVID to prove they really did not need this money. I'm sorry. On March the 31st of 2022, the defendants applied and received loan forgiveness On the second loan, the first loan had a 24-month term, meaning that the full balance was due and payable as of April the 12th. However, the defendants have failed to repay the first loan, and the first loan has not been forgiven. Plaintiff is informed and believes that the defendants have applied for but not yet received loan forgiveness on the first loan. That is now almost a year past due. The SBA would not have forgiven the loans if they knew the defendant's certifications described above were false. They also would not have forgiven the loans if they knew that the proceeds had been used to increase profits instead of paying their employees. Defendants already had ample liquidity to pay employees. Defendants knew the falsity of their certification and applying for the first loan in 2020. They unquestionably knew they were false when they applied for the second one. So they said, listen, if they weren't sure the first time, they damn sure knew the second time. As a result of the forgiveness and the maturity of the first loan, defendants have not repaid either loan and have kept the proceeds. And they have been repaid instead of with money from taxpayers, including the small businesses and their owners who were supposed to receive the PPP funds instead of repaying a profitable RIA loan that should never have been received in the first place. So it goes on to state the False Claims Act. So it cites what the False Claims Act is. It says it prohibits fraudulent conduct in connection with federal programs, including the knowing submission of false claims for payment to the government. In these circumstances, liability may attach if the omission renders those representations misleading. For any person who knowingly represents or causes to be presented a false or fraudulent claim, knowingly makes use or causes to be made or used a false record, or statement material to a false or fraudulent claim. Knowingly makes use or causes to be made use a false record or statement material to an obligation or pay or transmit money on property. All right. So again, they're going through what they think was violated based on the case law. First cause of action, false or fraudulent claim. And again, plaintiff alleges and incorporates by reference each and every allegation contained in all the prior paragraphs of this complaint. So they're saying that was violated. The prayer for relief is as follows. This court entered judgment against each defendant in the amount equal to 3 times the damages that the United States has sustained because of defendant's action, plus a civil penalty of no less than $12,000 and no more than $25,000 for each and every false claim as are required by law, together with such further relief as may be just and proper. Such other relief as the court may deem just and proper, together with interest and cost of this action, reasonable attorney fees, litigation expenses, and the cost of suit. And they do demand a jury trial. So, from my understanding, y'all know I'm nobody's attorney. I didn't go to nobody's law school. But to the best of my understanding, it sounds like this agency did submit this paperwork to the Department of Justice for possible criminal charges. The Department of Justice did not, it looks like they did not choose to indict on criminal charges. So this is a civil litigation, it looks like. And they're asking for, basically they want the money back plus damages. That's what it looked like. They're like, listen, if you just give us our money back, give the government their money back, plus some damages and our legal fees, then all is well. For whatever reason, it sounds like the federal government chose not to indict. Don't know why. Not my monkey, not my show. But it sounds like they chose not to indict. But it does look like they want their money. So they want $3 million plus penalties plus legal fees. So it looks like maybe close to about $4 million by the time all is said and done. Maybe even a little bit more. I don't know. Now, I'll go back to my original question at the beginning of this live. It sounds to me, now I do have a question. Hey, I do have a question. And I really hate to do this, y'all, but I got to do it. I have to do it. And I'm not an attorney. So let me preface what I'm getting ready to say with, y'all know I'm nobody's attorney, right? Y'all know where I got my law degree, from Law and Order University by way of Matlock College. I don't know. But I do find it interesting that a whole lot of people got thrown in jail for this exact same thing. And I'm wondering why this was not a criminal indictment like other people who, I mean, I get it that other people was buying like Bentleys and Rolexes and gold teeth. Like, I get it that other people was doing real dumb shit with the money. But what's the difference between buying a Rolex and a Bentley with PPP money and buying more property or a Hermes bag for my wife? Or like, what is the difference? Because I would be interested to know why the Department of Justice chose not to criminally indict. To me, this seems very open and shut, and it seems very clear. Now, I get it. At the end of the day, you want your money back. That's great. But if I'm understanding, and again, I could be reading it wrong. I'm being honest. I could be reading this wrong. But to the best of my understanding, that's what it looks like. Now, did y'all hear something different as I was reading through that? Did y'all? Because it's at the beginning, it said that they submitted it to the Department of Justice, and the Department of Justice did not respond within the required 60-day limit, which means that they were choosing not to indict. They still reserve the right to indict later. Okay. Well, it's been a year, because remember, this was from July of 2023. It's been a year. What we waiting for? I'm just wondering. Now, what I do not have in front of me is what the resolution was. Are they still negotiating this, or has this been resolved? But I do think the timing is very, very interesting. I do think the timing was very interesting. Now, I'm not saying that Kyle is shallow enough to leave her husband when it looked like he might be getting ready to go to the jailhouse. I'm not saying that. And clearly they can afford to pay this money back if their company is worth, millions of dollars in profit every year. If they're making $11 million in profit last year, they can afford to pay this money back, right? But I just find it interesting that their marital problems coincide with his legal problems. I'm just saying. Perhaps the company has been in negotiations for repayment if it hasn't already. I think that's what it is, Audrey. Honestly, I think that they probably are paying it back, if not already paid it back. I believe that's what it is. And that might be why this paperwork is now open to us, because the case has been resolved. Again, I don't have that information in front of me, and I don't know that to be a fact. But I do find it interesting that this was sealed for a year. Okay, Tracy said, nope, nothing has been resolved. Not nothing. Thank you, Tracy. I do find it interesting that this was under seal for a year, though. Again, I might have to run this by Pam and get her legal expertise on what's going on with this situation. But you're right. I mean, the statute of limitations is not up if the government does decide to pursue. But I just find it interesting that we've seen any number of people go to jail for PPP loans, fraud. And I just find it interesting that there's been no criminal charges. I don't know. And maybe in those other cases, I don't know. I don't have enough information to draw a conclusion. I do find it curious, though. I'm going to just leave it at that. I find it curious. I would just leave it at that. The right connection and complexion for protection. You better say it again, R&D, for the people in the back who ain't hear you. Better say it for the people in the back, because that's the conclusion I'm drawing right now. I mean, I don't have nothing. I can't base that on fact. I'm just saying, Well, I do declare Really Brittany is live. Not Really Brittany. Not much longer. We about to get off here, Cajun. We just came down here to talk about Kyle's husband for a few minutes. Now, before I get off of here, do not forget, if you are interested in becoming a part of the ReallyBTV Football League over on FanDuel, send me an email at ReallyBThePodcast@gmail.com so that I can send you the link if you would like to join. Get your Black Girl vitamins. And I do have an announcement I'll be making tomorrow about an event that's going to be here in DC that I will be attending. So I want all my DC folk to consider coming, but I'll have all the information for you guys tomorrow on that. This is off subject, but did you see Kathy Bates will be playing the new R&D. We done talked about that new Matlock. I don't know how I feel about it. I'm gonna wait and see the first episode. I'm really not impressed. I love Kathy Bates, and y'all know how I feel about Matlock, but the trailer doesn't make me want to watch the show. Also, you have to have all your ducks in a row when you go up against folks who have the money to pay for the high-priced lawyers as well. That is true. Now, exactly, Erica, facts on facts. Those are facts. And they definitely have the money. They definitely have the resources. Now, that's a fact. That's a fact. That's a fact. How could it be that he has a legit company, whereas some of the others didn't even have a company? Now, that is true. Now, Brown Mama, that's a fact. That is a valid point. See, that's why I like talking to the tribe. That is a valid point. That in some of these cases, these people didn't even have real businesses. You're right. He did have a legit business, even though he should not have been eligible for the loan. He did not lie about having a business. He did not lie about a payroll. Now, that's true, because some of those people were very egregious. They didn't even have no real businesses. They ain't have no. So you're right. See, that's why I like talking to y'all. That is why I like talking to y'all. Do you think the lawsuit is the reason Netflix canceled the show? No, I think Netflix canceled the show because nobody was watching it. Because let's be clear, who was watching it? I mean, maybe y'all were. I wasn't. Maybe some people were watching it. I wasn't. All right. So this weekend, you guys, we're going to get caught up on Dubai. Probably Sunday. And I will be dropping some uploads throughout the weekend. Saturday, I'm going to be out all day. But Sunday and Monday, I don't really have any plans. So I'll get you guys the next episode of Reasonable Doubt. And a few other things that I'm trying to get to you guys over on the other channel. With that being said, y'all about to get up off of here. This wasn't going to be a long live. I just wanted to bring you guys a little more information. I saw it hit the blog. So y'all know Tracy dropped me the lawsuit. And I said, well, shoot, I'll go live for about 30 minutes and go over the lawsuit. But it sounds like PPP fraud, alleged PPP fraud. It has not been resolved. But I do have some questions about why it possibly was under seal for a year. And what I do have some questions. I may ask either Simone or Pam. I'll try to get in touch with them and ask them, because I do have questions. I do have some questions. All right, you guys. Am I going to Reggie and Mandy's first marriage? Cajun, no. Goodbye. I'm not doing this with Cajun. Bye, y'all. I'll talk to y'all later. Peace.